When we're building something for God, should we expect opposition? Do we sometimes have to wait patiently for God's hand? Let's look at Ezra 4. Do enemies sometimes pretend to be friends? What happened as former exiles began to rebuild the temple? Then the adversaries of Judah and Benjamin heard that the people of the exile were building a temple to Yahweh, the God of Israel. So they approached Zerubbabel and the heads of fathers' households and said to them, "Let us build with you, for we, like you, seek your God, and we've been sacrificing to him since the days of Esarhaddon, king of Assyria, who brought us up here." But Zerubbabel and Yeshua and the rest of the heads of fathers' households of Israel said to them, "You have nothing in common with us in building a house to our God, but we ourselves will together build to Yahweh, the God of Israel, as King Cyrus, the king of Persia, has commanded us." Are bribery and false accusation some of the forms of harassment that enemies use? Do such things occasionally happen in churches? Then the people of the land discouraged the people of Judah and frightened them from building, and bribed advisers against them to frustrate their advice all the days of Cyrus, king of Persia, even until the reign of Darius, king of Persia. Now in the reign of Ahasuerus, in the beginning of his reign, they wrote an accusation against the inhabitants of Judah and Jerusalem. And in the days of Artaxerxes, Bishlam, Mithridath, Tabeel, and the rest of his colleagues wrote to Artaxerxes, king of Persia, and the text of the letter was written in Aramaic and translated from Aramaic. What were the contents of the letter to Artaxerxes, falsely accusing the inhabitants of Jerusalem? Rehum, the commanding officer, and Shimshai, the secretary, wrote a letter against Jerusalem to Artaxerxes the king as follows. Rehum, the commanding officer, and Shimshai, the secretary, together with the rest of their associates, the judges, officials, and administrators over the people from Persia, Uruk, and Babylon, the Elamites of Susa, and the other people whom the great and honorable Ashurbanipal deported and settled in the city of Samaria and elsewhere in Trans-Euphrates. This is a copy of the letter they sent him. To King Artaxerxes, from your servants in Trans-Euphrates. The king should know that the people who came up to us from you have gone to Jerusalem and are rebuilding that rebellious and wicked city. They're restoring the walls and repairing the foundations. Furthermore, the king should know that if this city is built and its walls are restored, no more taxes, tribute, or duty will be paid, and eventually the royal revenues will suffer. Now, since we're under obligation to the palace, and it's not proper for us to see the king dishonored, we're sending this message to inform the king, so that a search may be made in the archives of your predecessors. In these records you'll find that this city is a rebellious city, troublesome to kings and provinces, a place with a long history of sedition. That's why this city was destroyed. We inform the king that if this city's built and its walls are restored, you'll be left with nothing in Trans-Euphrates. What was the king's reply? Did he command that rebuilding work cease? The king sent an answer to Rehum the commander, to Shimshai the scribe, to the rest of their companions who dwell in Samaria, and to the remainder beyond the river, peace and so forth. The letter which you sent to us has been clearly read before me, and I gave the command, and a search has been made, and it was found that this city in former times has revolted against kings, and rebellion and sedition have been fostered in it. There have also been mighty kings over Jerusalem, who have ruled over all the region beyond the river, and tax, tribute, and custom were paid to them. Now give the command to make these men cease, that this city may not be built until the command is given by me. Take heed now that you do not fail to do this, Why should damage increase to the hurt of the kings? How long did this false accusation cause the work to stop? Can an enemy permanently stop the church, or is the timing always in God's hands? Then, when the copy of King Artaxerxes' letter was read before Rehum, Shimshai the scribe and their companions, they went in haste to Jerusalem to the Jews, and made them to cease by force of arms. Then work stopped on God's house, which is at Jerusalem. It stopped until the second year of the reign of Darius, king of Persia. Did the Apostle Paul mention opposition that he faced at times? You know how badly we'd been treated at Philippi just before we came to you, and how much we suffered there. Yet our God gave us the courage to declare His good news to you boldly, in spite of great opposition. When we're building something for God, should we expect opposition? Do we sometimes have to wait patiently for God's hand? You decide.